Greetings and welcome to another Just Talk. That's right, we are back with our weekly news and analytics show, and a very special one at that, as it is my 99th video upload. We're nearly there. We're nearly at the 100th video, due out tomorrow. I hope you will join me for that. And we are in humble surroundings here because once again, it is a metaphor. It's a metaphor for this week, which has been quite a humbling week. For me, it's been an interesting week. I set a fairly ambitious goal last week of reaching 1,000 subscribers. We're not there. We're not anywhere near there. In fact, it has been probably it has been the worst week we've had for subscriber gain for a little while. But that comes because I think we were concentrating on the wrong things. At the end of the day, subscribers mean nothing in and of themselves. Subscribers is just a number. What really matters is the rest of it. It's views, it's likes, it's comments, it's engagement in general. It's people actually enjoying the channel and what's on the channel. And it's not been a bad week for that. There's been a bit of backsliding going on. The universe has given me a little bit of a kick up the bum, and I have taken note, and we're going to be changing things up a little bit. I'm going to be treating this less like a job. I'm going to be working out ways that I can do the content that I want to do, focus on the content, focus less on publicizing it. At the end of the day, we will grow, and we will grow naturally. And that's all that matters. That is it. So there you go. That is the introduction this week. It has been a week of some Zen contemplation. And I think we're in a much better place now as a result of it. And actually, the channel is changing quite a lot. So let's crack on with channel news. Okay, so this week we saw the start of a new series, Cities Skylines. Very different type of game for the channel. It's been one that I've been thinking of doing for a while. Few people requested it, admittedly off the back of me asking if they might like it. It seems to be going down pretty well. The viewing numbers, like I said, have not been super duper, I have to say. We've got sort of 800 odd subscribers, but we've only been getting, for a good part of this week, 40 to 50 views was what we were showing on the videos, on the most recent videos, which is well below that 10% mark that I talked about last week. So, I think that's because we were getting a lot of not quite genuine subscribers, and also, it is going to be the case that you'll get people who will subscribe and then they won't come back for one reason or another. Lots of reasons, potentially. It may be that they don't like the content you're making at that moment in time. They may have subscribed for a specific game. All sorts of reasons. All sorts of different reasons. Anyway, like I said, we're not going to worry about that. We're not going to worry about any of that. We're just going to make the type of channel that I want to make, and I'm going to hope that you guys enjoy it. And obviously, I will be open to your suggestions. As always, I really love hearing your feedback and comments. The more the better. It really helps me to kind of gauge which shows are going down well and which aren't, because purely basing it on the view count can be quite misleading. And the like count is a lot better as a gauge, but even that sometimes can be a little bit misleading. So there we go. That is Cities Skylines, which there will be lots more of. It's a very easy game to record. It's a lot of fun to record. I love making up the little stories and things that go along with it. And I think you can expect to see a fair amount of that on the channel over the coming weeks. It's not going to run forever. I don't want to run one of these channels which focuses on one game for ages and ages and ages. I like to mix things up. I like to change things around. So Cities Skyline is there at the moment. We wrapped up the Stranded Deep Season 1 of Island Paradise. I don't know if I made it clear. In fact, I'm certain I didn't make it clear. That was the end of Season 1, but I kind of wanted to leave it as a little bit of a cliffhanger and so on and so forth. So that is wrapped up for now. There will be a Season 2. It is planned. In fact, the reason kind of why I wanted to wrap up Season 1 is to give me more time to take the pressure off so that I could really work on some ideas that I've got for Season 2, making it a little bit more narrative driven. It'll still be kind of improvised. It's not just going to be pre-scripted, if you know what I mean, but it will be sort of guided, I suppose is the right word, and that's I'm pretty excited about that. I think that could be really good fun, and that could help to keep the game fresh, which otherwise I think was starting to get a little bit repetitive with me just kind of rowing out to islands, chopping trees down, talking to Wilson and coming back, or possibly not in that order. I'll probably do a Season 2 trailer at some point when that's on the horizon. Medieval Engineers I'm definitely going to stick with. I really enjoy Medieval Engineers. A lot of people have come to the channel for Medieval Engineers. Whilst I don't want it to be a medieval engineers channel, and I don't think there's any risk of that with the amount of other things I do on the channel, it's going to be the sort of the longer running game, I suspect. It's one that I'll keep coming back to and doing videos on from time to time, but probably not more than 1 or 2 videos a week. I may or may not keep doing the update quests. It's quite stressful having to kind of put out something like that in relatively, from scratch effectively in one day, in less than a day. So I don't know. I might merge the update quest back into the rest of it and kind of look to put out 1 or 2 good medieval engineers videos a week. That's kind of the plan. It's a fluid plan, but that's the plan at the moment. I'll probably be starting the Long Dark this week as well, because I've kind of got a space open. I think there's room for more or less three shows a week. If you think about it, we've got 7 upload slots a week, plus the opportunity of doing doubles from time to time. Especially if it's a little bit more pre-planned, and it'll probably come in. Oh, there we go. It'll probably come in the form of one game which I'm kind of focusing on, and a couple of other games that I'm keeping ticking over at any given time for sort of like running series. And then we've got the specials. So we've got Weird Wednesday, Retro Friday, and of course these Just Talks. I may look at making Just Talks a monthly thing. I don't know if it really makes sense to do this every week and to use up an upload slot on it. But let me know if you've got comments on that. Right. Okay. I think that's pretty much it. I've touched on everything I wanted to touch on. So let us go and have a look at the analytics. All right. Here we are in the analytics screen. And as usual, we start in the dashboard. And if we have a little look, we're at 804 subscribers there, which is not bad. That's pretty good. Like I say, we're 200 odd off the 1,000 mark, but it's not entirely surprising. It's been a pretty poor week by recent standards in terms of subscriber gain. However, like I say, I think that's just kind of the universe turning around and kicking me out in the arse for focusing on subscribers when subscribers is not the important figure here. This figure actually is relatively meaningless. The important figures are the view counts, which, as you can see, we're doing okay. 45 videos for yesterday's Retro Friday. 45 views, sorry, for yesterday's Retro Friday, which is not bad. 10 likes, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good ratio. City Skylines, 62 views for episode 2, part 2. 14 likes. Good comment as well. We've got good comments across the board, which is the really important thing. I mean, this is the thing to sort of focus on in my mind. The first episode, interestingly, 58 views, so actually slightly fewer views than part 2, but I suppose that happens from time to time. But 14 likes again, 21 comments, some really good comments. But if we look at these, we're going anywhere from, if we sort of ignore Retro Friday because it's only been out for a day, for the last sort of like 3 or 4 days, we've got between 60 and 70 views, which, like I said, is a little bit less than 10%, which is not really where I want to be. But we're addressing that. We are filtering our publicizing a little bit more, and hopefully that ratio should start to improve a bit going forwards. Let's take a look whilst we're here actually at the community, because I just want to, well, first of all, let's give some shout-outs here. And as I start to tell people, I don't do shout-outs by request, but I do like to comment on members of the community who've offered interesting feedback or who've sort of gotten involved, because I want to try and build the community up. That's kind of my new focus. It's not so much about the raw numbers of subscribers. That's kind of irrelevant. It's the number of people who actively are partaking in the community, who are enjoying the content, enjoying the videos, and getting involved. Whether directly or indirectly. So here we go. I mean, we've got Obsinacho. I apologize, I'm going to butcher some names here. He did point his gun at me, that's true. Gaming Angel, who's a new follower, greetings to you. Dominique Soto, another new follower, greetings to you. Luke Nance, another new follower. I love it when people come and join into the comments and comment on videos. I mean, it's so much more of an interesting form of engagement rather than just sort of through Twitter or even people just hitting the like button. It's nice to see likes building up, obviously, but it's even better when people have something to say, even if it's just, I really enjoyed this, or that point was really funny, or this was a good thing that you did in the video. It really helps me to gauge what I'm doing right and where I can potentially improve. Nibblefish, obviously, Pesky Quiet Man, both long time followers of the channel. Pesky Quiet Man has been a rock this week as well. Thanks a lot, man, for your many words of advice and wisdom. Debated Nothing, Life's a Game 2006. I think you're new as well, but greetings and welcome aboard if you are indeed new. And yes, indeed, City Skylines. I am loving it too. Fallen X, my longest, my most loyal subscriber. It's great to see that you are still around and still enjoying the content, even if perhaps City Skylines isn't 100% your cup of tea. Logan Smith, RJ Morrison, MDM 32746, The Last Expected 44. You're all awesome. William Fry. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but that will do for now, I think. It's kind of a special one because it's the 99th upload. I'm not going to do this every week, but I do like to mention, people who offered a bit of advice or have just come up with something particularly interesting or cool to say in the comments. So there you go. Fantastic. There's lots of people with a few subscribers here and there, small numbers, which means a small channel, but I have to wonder, especially as they often don't engage in the comments. So and it's at the end of the day, you can't argue with the figures. Like 804 subscribers. It may be that like certain people come back only to watch Retro Fridays or Weird Wednesdays or the City Skylines or the Medieval Engineers content or whatever. But whatever the reasons, I want to close this gap because it irks me. It irks me to have that there, and perhaps more importantly than that, I want to stop focusing on that subscriber number because I think it's just a misleading figure. What's important is how many views we get, how many likes we get, how much engagement, and most importantly of all is how many comments we get and how much of a dialogue there is between me and you guys. That's kind of the more important thing for me anyway as a YouTuber. I know other YouTubers may disagree, but for me that's the most important thing. So right, that's all that said and done. Let's head on to the analytics. Alright, so this is probably the most useful of the analytics screens, and you are probably well used to it by now. We've got the views. Views are in blue, and minutes watched are in orange, and this is where we are now. We are at the top level. If you ignore this little dip here, we are at the top level of where we were prior to this big surge, which is pretty much what we've come to expect from big surges. You get this big surge off of the back of a particular video or a bunch of new subscribers coming in or something, and then you tend to drop back down, but you don't drop. You drop back down to be sort of like bouncing along at more or less the top level of where you were bouncing along before. And like through this method, we gradually edge our way up, and it's good to see. I mean, we've got 16 hours. 24 minutes, 199, 221 views, 16 hours, 28 minutes. So basically, 16 to 19, 16 to 20 odd hours in terms of minutes watched and sort of around the 200 mark in terms of views, which, like I say, it's kind of towards the top end of what we were achieving over here. It's where these peaks were, but we had a lot of sort of lower figures bouncing around underneath that. So it's moving in the right direction. It is. It absolutely is. I think it's been a bit of an aberration, this drop in raw view figures. Maybe we had a lot of new people coming in, bumping up the original view figures, whereas now people are spreading those views around a little more and watching a lot of the back catalogue. I'm not entirely sure. We'll just have to wait and see how that develops. Let's take a look at the demographics. This is awesome. Look, 9.4%. That's like a 5% gain in female viewers over the last week, which is fantastic. I'm really pleased with that. Also, these demographics are quite interesting. Look, majority of the viewers are in this sort of like 18 to 34 view bracket, and indeed 35 to 44 has higher numbers than the 13 to 17. So not unexpected, to be honest with you. I mean, I figured that my content probably appeals to the slightly more mature lady and gentleman, more so than the youngest amongst my viewers, although I know there are at least some younger folk watching the channel as well, and you are all welcome. I do try and keep the channel content appropriate to a kind of PG-13 level of sort of profanity and things, but that's just, I mean, that's the way I like to live my life in general as well. So there we go. It's kind of cool. Interestingly, I mean, this is the demographic that I fit into, in case you're wondering. 35 to 44, 37 actually to be precise. So towards this end of it a little bit. But yeah, really interesting. Interesting to see these figures. It really is. US, obviously, my biggest viewing figures come from the US. And the UK not far behind at all, which is pretty cool. That's pretty good to see. Awesome. Right, let's press on. Let's take a look at the subscriber graph. As you can see, we had this big peak. This was kind of where I was being a little bit more indiscriminate. And I think as well, I perhaps didn't appreciate just how many of my current subscribers had already brought in their friends and things. I think this part of this surge here is because we got a lot of new subscribers coming in, but a lot of those subscribers then brought in their friends and other people, which is awesome. And I don't think I'd appreciated quite how much of that had already happened. I think we had effectively tapped that resource already. So asking for it last week was, as I say, I think a little bit. It wasn't really the right thing to do, and I have been humbled by the fact that the universe has given me a little bit of a kicking for it, and that is all well and good, and we will wind up with a stronger and better channel as a result of that. I am certain of that. Great. Likes and dislikes, pretty much pretty much okay. We had this massive, great big surge. And we've kind of we've been bouncing along around the sort of level that we're used to off the back of that. Comments, we've had a massive surge of comments. Look there on the 4th, on the 1st. So what was that, Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday. Massive surge of comments on Wednesday. We haven't really got the end of the week, and I think, like I said, the start of this week was very slow. It was very slow for whatever reason, and so there will be a bit of a pickup towards the end of the week, but. Nonetheless, interesting figures. Like I say, comments is where it's at for me. Comments is by far the most important. So keep those comments coming. Whatever you have to say, good or bad, relevant or just complete randomness, it's all awesome. I really appreciate every single one of them. And I try and reply to them all as well. If I haven't replied to you, the chances are it's because I can't. So check. In order for me to be able to reply to you, you need to have either public replies turned on in your Google Plus profile, or you need to add me to your circles. So make sure you do that if you've not done it, if you're waiting on a reply from me, because I will reply pretty much to everyone all the time, because I like doing so. Good stuff. Cool. All right, fine. We're just going to take another quick look at views. We're going to have a look at the whole thing, basically, the whole caboodle. So going right back to January, this kind of ties in with tomorrow, where you'll get a full sort of like the full blow by blow of the channel developing. But here are the statistics for it. So I'm not going to run through it in any great detail, but basically throughout January we had the Banner Saga series running, and this was kind of me just finding my feet and learning the ropes, as it were. It's over here, sorry. And then as we got into February, we hit Stranded Deep, and you see there's a big peak, and things start to actually happen on the channel. Medieval Engineers comes in, and we really are taking off. If you take out the big extreme highs and some of these lows, and you just track the mean through there, is pretty good. I'm very happy with the way the channel's been developing, and I just need to be patient for this. I don't think you can force it. I think at the end of the day, we just have to be patient. It's all about getting the best quality content up that I can, and then getting people to see it. And the only thing that I have really strong control over is putting up good quality content. So that's where I'm going to focus my efforts. It's all going to go into the content, a little bit of publicizing, but generally speaking, we'll just have to grow organically, I think, because I would rather be spending my time doing good content rather than sort of like publicizing and discovering that actually a lot of the people who come in off the back of that don't stick around. So I would rather people who discover the channel naturally and then stick around are kind of our main source. I don't know if that's realistic or not, but that's what we're going to do. Good, fine, right. Let's take a look at the subscribers over that same time period. There you go. So subscribers is just, it's just a number, and it doesn't really mean anything. The only thing that really means things is viewership, and even viewership, can be misleading. The main thing is likes and comments. Those are the main metrics that I think I want to judge my channel by, and it's the main things that I'm going to focus on from now on and going forward. So there we go. That is the analytics. I hope I touched on enough today. We're kind of rushing a little bit to get through it all. So let's go back in-game. There we go. That was the analytics. I hope you enjoyed that. We had a little look at not just the last week, but also the way it has gone for the last, basically since we started the channel. I lost my bike. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that little retrospective. It's kind of a little taster, in a sense, for what's coming tomorrow with the 100th video upload, which will be looking in much more depth at all of my past videos. In fact, it's going to be, I've kind of lost the ability to be objective about that, because it's been such a kind of personal journey for me, and going back over all those old videos and watching my own progress from video to video. I've lost all sense of what's good and what isn't, in terms of sort of entertainment purposes, and it's all just this like epic journey for me. So it's probably going to be a bit random if you're not as involved as I am, obviously, which none of you are, and but hopefully it'll be interesting nonetheless, and there'll be some best bits in there for sure, and some of my favourite moments and all the rest of it. So looking forward to that. Should be a bit of a treat for Easter Sunday, and then going into next week, there'll be more City Skylines. Like I say, the Long Dark will be starting up next week as well, and there'll be more Medieval Engineers, all of that good stuff. If you have any comments or suggestions about ways that I'm operating the channel, if you think 3 games at a time is too many or too few, if you want to see the Stranded Deep come back sooner rather than later, all of these things, anything you have, any thoughts, I love hearing them. It's all really great to get any sort of feedback at all on the channel is amazing, and we have been getting quite a lot of feedback, and that's really awesome. So there we go, that is it. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Just Talk. I know it's been I don't know what it's been. It's been the usual sort of thing. It's probably been a little bit rushed because the first time round my mic was turned off, and it was probably much better the first time round, but my mic was turned off, so I didn't record anything, so I've had to do it again. And this is the result, so deal with it. There we go, fantastic. Right, I have been Weird Wizard. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody, and I will see you for the 100th video later.